Stop taking credit. So when we do personal development work or spiritual work, you may come up again and again against the concept of that the narrative, your self narrative is a construct, and that we basically are cherry picking certain memories or qualities or the way that we interpreted certain events in our lives, and then we construct a self identity or a self image. Somebody might think that they're a good person, or someone might think they're a bad person, as a simple example. But people are much more complex than that, and it's not so black and white. There are times in our lives when we're at our best, and there are times when we are not at our best. And there might be things that we regret, and there might be things that we don't regret. Um, you know, if we are saying that we're this kind of person or that kind of person, that takes a certain kind of cherry picking, and it's not the whole picture. So one thing that can help when we're trying to do some personal development is to let go of some of the limiting beliefs that we held about ourselves from the past, and we can revisit some of those memories, and then we can shed some awareness on that memory, and we can realize that, wait a minute, maybe I didn't know better, I was young, or maybe I was too hard on myself saying that I was bad or wrong, and we can start to see that we make mistakes, and that's how we grow. And then we can see that those mistakes don't define us, making us a bad person. Well, on the flip side of this, the good things we do don't necessarily define us either. If we're trying to kind of let go of some of our, some of the limiting beliefs that we have, we can't really be biased here. And we need to also realize that some of the positive sort of beliefs that we have about ourselves, the things that we've taken credit for in our lives, there are circumstances that usually either A, outside of our control, or B, things just happen to go, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. A lot of times when people have these accomplishments in their lives, whether it's success in their job, or um, finishing college, or having a great family, or being in good shape, or anything, any kind of success, we like to take credit for that. Sometimes we even may find ourselves taking credit for the success, and sometimes not taking responsibility for the failures, or trying to write our narrative in such a way where the flukes in our lives are out of our control, but the success is in our control. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. This is kind of a biased sort of way of looking at things. So I'm not saying that you should be not happy when you have success, but instead of taking credit for it, I think it's a lot more practical and better for your character and personal development to, instead of taking credit for it, to feel grateful that it happens. Even the things that you put the extra effort in, you went the extra mile, and you worked real hard. It's really easy to want to take credit for that, but um, there's a lot of things out, maybe even everything is out of your control in those circumstances, because all the events in your life turned you into a certain kind of person, and those events were out of your control. And even though the way that you may have responded to those events, you could say is something that you did, do you really have control over the way that you respond? And even if you do you have control over uh, like some sort of meta control over that? We might feel like, oh, I made a good decision, but there's a lot of conditioning that led up to that decision. So, if you find yourself not wanting to take responsibility for the the failures, and you find yourself wanting to take credit for the success, you may be a little delusional in this sense. I have a lot of good things going for me in my life, that I'm pretty happy with, but at the same time, um, this there was it's not like I was able to exit the conditioning of my life and then will some sort of other situation that was totally independent of the conditioning. No, the whole thing, even my decision, was part of the conditioning. Everything you do and think, you could sort of see that there is a chain. There is a there is a sort of connection to everything that you do and everything that appears to lead up to that. And I talk about the conditioning, and then there's also your genetics. You can't control your genetics. You can't control your conditions. You can't really control your conditioning. And I would even argue that you are an extension of your conditioning. So basically my point here is to, instead of taking credit for all of the wonderful things, which can only really inflate the ego, to be honest. That's really the only thing it really can do. But instead of taking credit, just be grateful. A lot of the things that you probably, or anybody has probably done in their lives, some of the greatest things that they've done were most likely done, and then in retrospect, there's a sort of lack of understanding how it was done. Some of my greatest things I've done, I just kind of do it in a flow. So it's really hard to take credit for that. It's like the flow of the cosmos is taking care of it. So I think that it's a lot more productive and healthy to, instead of taking credit for your successes, just to feel grateful. Doesn't mean that you're any better or worse than anybody else. He just may have had a very lucky situation, and hopefully, if anything, you could hope the same for others. If you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. If you know anybody who might like this, then please share it. If you have anything you want to say, then please comment down below. And if you want to get notifications whenever I drop new content, then hit that little bell button. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.